Gundam.tk presents Full Armor Unicorn Gundam. Hey again everybody, it's Robert184, 2 R's 2 B's from Gundam.tk, which is GundamReviews.net. You've already seen the unboxing of the Master Grade Full Armor Unicorn Gundam all the way down there. The plates are all laid out, don't forget all these ones from the mobile suit. But now it's time to take a look at the plastic plates, which can give us some clues about how this guy's going to work out when it's all assembled. The red Psycho frame is the Unicorn Gundam's most noticeable feature, and in this case, the A plate for this full armor one is going to take that red and just turn it green, and it's a very bright and vivid green, which is looking fantastic. You're going to have everything you need, including something that holds the pilot there for the cockpit, and you've got the shield parts and a whole bunch of things, and you'll notice that a lot of them have little marks around there, because not only is this on display all the time, but it's actually inside until you transform it and put it up for show. Same color here for the B plate, and there's a very noticeable change if you went back to 2007's ver.Ka Tokyo the Master Grade. This part was not there on the B plate. This didn't come out until the OVA version came out, where because of complaints or whatever, they just decided to fix the legs and make them better. That meant that they changed some of the white parts, and those came on an additional R plate, which is not included with this and disappointing. But they do go as far as giving you this part, so these parts are not going to be used. They've got nice X's on them in the manual, and these ones will go in, and I'm hoping that those parts on their own will improve the range of mobility. Very small and intricate pieces overall in this. The transformation certainly is a big part of that. You'll notice that there's little tiny gaps, and those are either going to expose inner frame or be used just to allow parts to move for the transformation. Here you've got what you need for the waist section. Some of these parts are going to be different on the OVA. And for the unicorn, for the V-fin and the unicorn horn, you're going to get the 1 and the 2, but that R plate is missing the nice single piece one, so that's not there. This part is not going to be included on the OVA version because of the Vulcans. It's going to have a totally different head mount there for the sides anyway, so in this case you can expect it not to have Vulcans and be identical to the 2007 release. The D plate is looking sharp with the parts that you're going to need for the shield and chest. These little parts are going to attach onto the green, which is going to be exposed when you open up one of the best looking shields I think I've ever seen on a Gundam. And with this one, you're getting more than one. 2 small E plates with some very small parts that you're going to see on the forearms, etc. 2 F plates, which are sort of disappointing, if only because the OVA version, as it improved the legs, they gave you the additional clear green parts, which you've already seen on the B plate. And for these F parts, they would have thrown out these parts. These would have been unused because they were replaced by, I suppose, better ones on the R plate. In this one, because they didn't give you the R plate, you don't have the choice, so this is going to be identical to 2007's release, but hopefully just changing the green, even without changing the white. You wouldn't think Bandai would put in the green change, unless that was enough to actually change something by itself. The G plate wraps up the MS white, and you're going to have some very cool looking ankle guards, small parts here, and 4 nice beam sabers, and it's really cool the way they offer the protection around these vertical standing pieces. H and on give us gray inner frame, and you're going to see all sorts of cool parts, and you can see down here that in the waist section there's all these holes and gaps which are going to be used in the transformation. Very small eyes down there, and the part for the middle of the head. The waist skirts are looking great because the first thing a pro does with a high grade or something like that is fill these in. Not only are these going to be filled in with gray, but they're also going to be used in the swing mechanism. A busy looking, sort of weaponized looking eye plate, but actually these cool parts over here are all going to be used in the shield, and what a shield it is. There you've got the neck part to go under the head. The J plate's most noticeable feature is that it's going to have the manipulators there with a 3-finger trigger finger split, and the hands just look big as this is a bigger Gundam, and the parts that are going to go down at the ends of the forearm. The K plate is going to have some gray parts. These ones over here specifically are not going to be used in this kit. They're going to give you replacement gray parts because these ones don't have a hole or a hard point or whatever you want to call it, so that you can attach the part weapons down to the outside of the legs. So if you have these left over, no panic. Some small parts here on the L plate, which is ABS, and I still remember these knee parts and the frustrations that I had transforming the first Unicorn Gundam, and I hope that those frustrations are not here this time. A very small M plate with some thrusters and the split part of the lower chest. 2 big end plates are going to wrap this up for the mobile suit's gray parts anyway, and 2 plates is significant because that's enough parts for 2 beam magnums and 2 bazookas. Even though when you put this together, some of these bazooka parts are not actually going to get used, the full armor plates are going to include different ends, which are hopefully going to make them look even more powerful and have that much more firepower. So far we've only had white, gray, and green, and the P is going to give you the blue, which is going to make up the feet and the backpack, and looks very sharp on this Unicorn Gundam, especially in Unicorn mode. It's not HD colors though, and you're going to have some O-plates with a slightly different color of blue, hopefully you can make that out there, and not all of these are going to be used when you put it all together. No polycaps in this monstrosity, and you're going to have 2 sheets of beam sabers there, Saber 1's SB1. So to the right, even though there's a couple extra plates in there because of this being the full armor version, that's the mobile suit, and now it's time to move on to look at everything that you're going to get that makes this full armor one so bulked out. Now Bandai, being the clever marketers that they are, when you read the novels you would see that there was going to be a beam Gatling gun inside, which was very impressive. So Bandai whipped up this Q plate, which didn't come with the original, and they were able to put this off as an additional thing. I forget if it came with the novel, or if it came with Gundam Ace, or Unicorn Ace, or UC, or whatever. Anyway, so I'm sure there was somebody who went out and bought 6 magazines or 6 books to get 6 of these and slap them all over the place. And now all they're going to do is give you 6 of these Q plates. So it's you're actually getting more plastic here than you do in some high grades, and they're all just going to make up identical weapons. 99% of Gundams have the A plate as their focus, but in this one, the full armor Unicorn Gundam, it's all about the X plates. 2 of them, in fact, and outside of the regular gray, which is not so exciting, I'm talking about the Hyper Beam Javelin, which is just a fantastic looking weapon because it's got these 2 ridiculously large pink parts, which are looking very good there in the effect parts. And I figured that there might be additional green plates, but they actually just included on the X ones. You're going to have the 2 parts that you need for the insides of the shield, and I had no idea until I looked at the cover art really carefully that you're going to have these green parts actually fit inside the pink parts, so you're going to be getting Psycho Frame in the weapons, which are going to go along with these missile pods in very bright red, which the original Gundam did not have. Of all the famous Gundam colors, one was always missing, this X plate. I can't wait to start putting these weapons together. Now with the boosters providing the outsides of the base Jabber, you're going to have some of the parts here, or these are just for the backpack. And these parts are very noticeable because you have these legs with the hard points on them. Swap those out for the regular ones, and they're going to allow you to put the weapons on the outsides. The Z plate is looking really sharp here. Big parts, but they do have a lot of details in them despite that. Very cool hollow parts there for the covers. These are fantastic compared to the way that they used to do cockpits on things like this. You've got these nice little parts that are going into the middle, and it seems like a bonus, but for one simple plate, and I'm sure a few extra parts on some others, Bandai added something that can really bring out another use for the Unicorn mode, which can easily get overshadowed by its Psycho Frame awesomeness here. And speaking of awesome, they've already looped past Z, so why not move on to WA? 2 of these big plates, and these are going to give you the most noticeable features being these core boosters here. You're going to have these big parts, which are standing up vertical and looking pretty good, but when you see some of the detail, do you see the way this Hyper Beam Javelin, it's actually split down there? That's one piece standing up well protected in the plate, it hasn't broken off. And they even go as far as to include little tiny pilots, which should look very good in the cockpit, which they did such a good design in making it hollow. 2 WBs, and that's not the TV network. You're going to have these additional parts for the bazooka ends. Remember, you're not going to use the ones from the regular Gundam. Here you have the outside of a traffic light, it looks like, for the triple missile pods, which are looking really sharp. These things, I wasn't quite sure about them from the promo pages, how this would look exactly, but anyway, I do think it's sort of cool that they went with something ornate as opposed to just a block, although if you had some clear plastic or something, they may look even better, holding up those massive boosters sticking out its rear. And finally, the WC is going to give you 2 ABS plates here. You're going to have the parts that you need for the insides of the shield, some cool looking things there for the landing gear, and look at the detail that go into some of these parts. Just a fantastic bit of metal pouring into these plates. Bandai, the engineering that's gone in here just makes me even more excited to start putting it all together. So now you've seen all the parts for the mobile suit, the extra weapons that are included, and everything you need for the full armor component, not to mention those 6 Q plates for the beam Gatling guns. Things are looking pretty good. I was disappointed that there wasn't an R1 and an R2 plate. You'd think that they could just give you the option of switching on to an anime type head, and more importantly, just for those legs. However, like I said, if this B plate and the extra parts that they give you on the side, maybe that alone can fix the problems that were there with the lack of 90 degrees in the legs. Anyway, the most important and impressive part has to be those X plates with that bright red, the green parts over there, and the fact that they actually have that inside the Hyper Beam Javelin, and those great pink effect parts. Can't wait to get started. The weapons are going to be first, but stay tuned for one more part where I take a look at the decals and the manual, because the manual in itself reads like some Dostoevsky. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, Gundam.tk, thanks for checking this out. See you next part, everybody. Bye. This Mega Size H1 was a lot of fun to build, but it looks like child's play in comparison to putting together this much superior grade and model.